Hello and welcome to BrAInstorm, powered by STX Next. If you're a business leader looking to implement AI in your organization, or you work with business leaders looking to implement AI in their organizations, then this is a perfect episode for you, because I'm here today with not one, not two, but 4 exceptional experts who are super eager to share their insights and knowledge with you. So without further ado, Anna, Barbara, Karina, and Marta, I'm going to ask you a question a little bit about your career journeys. So reflecting on your own careers so far, if you were to give one piece of advice to someone who just wants to get into technology or AI specifically, what would you tell them? And let's maybe go in alphabetical order. So I'm going to come to you, Anna, first.
Okay. So I think I would just tell this person or someone who's getting into the career started to just stay very curious and just keep learning. What I mean here is that obviously things change very quickly right now, so just being able to catch up with everything is impossible. But if you start small, look around kind of your own environment, look at your own kind of job flow and start thinking of what can I do to actually automate my daily workflow? How can I surround myself with people who are a step or 2 steps ahead of me? And, just follow different viewpoints, look for mentors, etc. That would be probably the advice that I would start with.
Okay, so I could add one thing. Don't be afraid if you don't have PhD degree or master degree in computer science or mathematics or something like that, because AI is very, very wide branch now. You can use generate tools in your work. You can build different algorithms. You can use your software engineering skills or your soft skills, or even your specific knowledge. Yeah. For example, I know data scientists who were business analysts, and they have a very good understanding of business, some kind of area. Then they learned a little bit algorithms about AI, etc. And now they are very good data scientists because then they can combine 2 fields: one, business, and second, algorithms and AI. So if you don't have degree in computer science, don't be afraid. You have a place in AI world.
It's funny because the first thing that actually came to my mind was a quote by Ted Lasso, whom I love, and his motto is "Stay curious, not judgmental." And it's very similar to what Anna said, and I guess it applies to every single thing in our lives, AI included. So just hop on the train and see what's there. But on top of that, I would say that I really loved the answer that the CEO of LinkedIn recently gave to a similar question. And he said that what is important nowadays is to learn how to learn. So basically, you can gain your competitive advantage by being up to date with everything that's happening. And in order to do so, you have to test the new tools that are appearing and the new processes and the new solutions that the AI brings to the table. So just do it, get along with it, and I'm sure you will do great.
I think my answer will be a little bit similar to what you said, but I'm going to give you an example that happened to me recently. I'm still doing quite a lot of interviews for sales representatives, and usually I'm asking the same question. So I'm asking, why do you want to work for such a company as ours? And usually the answer is pretty similar, which is because it's IT, because it's AI, because it's sexy, because this is how I want to grow my career. And I always ask another question, which is, okay, so how much do you know about AI? And are you using AI on daily basis? And recently a person gave me the worst possible answer for that question. So he said, well, I don't use it because I'm old school. So as you can imagine, it was hard for me to keep like a, straight face for that answer, not to just show how disappointed I was. So I think it's important for people to start using AI on daily basis. It's not only fun, but it's actually pretty helpful.
Okay, so actually, based on that, I have a question. I know that you all have a lot of conversations with business leaders, like customers, partners, your peers. So are they mostly open about AI or excited about AI, or are they still approaching with a certain level of caution?
I think that nowadays people are very, very curious about the AI and they want to use it. But still, some part of society or companies, maybe not companies, but people inside the company, some kind of groups, don't want to use AI because of costs, yeah, or because of safety, and they are worrying about training algorithms because they heard somewhere that the models learn on your data, train on your data, and they don't know what is saved, what is not saved. They don't want what kind of data they can use, what kind of algorithms or infrastructure then they can use. And then they have a problem how to solve this kind of concerns. They need some kind of advisor, yeah, people who have a knowledge about it, and I think there's major problems.
I think that from my perspective, it was a little bit easier just to get the excitement from my colleagues, especially within the sales department. As I told you previously, it's a big thing right now just to sell AI. It's important from the growth perspective. But I think we even boosted our excitement when we start using AI tools on daily basis. And there was a sales assistant created by our R&D department, which changed a lot from the sales perspective. Selling within software house is not as easy as maybe sometimes it is when you are selling ready solutions or ready products, because you need to learn quite a lot of case studies, relevant things about challenges within the clients, recommendation, what exactly we implemented. And we are on the market for 20 years almost. So as you can imagine, we had so many different cases and not many people are with us for such a long time, especially within the sales department. So it was tough to onboard new people. It's impossible for them to learn every possible case studies. So whenever they were preparing for those calls or meetings with clients, they were trying to find relevant stories. And the way to do it was usually find a person that used to work for a particular project and just learn from that person. As you can imagine, it was terrible. It was very time consuming and not always the best source of knowledge. So when we introduced Sales Assistant, where we were able to ask simple questions about those historical data, and you could have an answer in a couple of seconds, so you could actually use it during those meetings, during those calls. It was definitely a game changer, and definitely it boosted the excitement part from my colleagues.
I agree with Marta, but I also think that we are all in a kind of a social bubble because we work in tech. So we are surrounded by people that are usually tech savvy and very interested to whatever is happening on the market. When it comes to our clients, I still see a lot of them approaching AI with a grain of salt. And I personally think it's great because we all have to be aware of all of the risks that Basia listed a moment ago. But I also feel like this is no longer a choice, especially if you are a business owner. You have to think how disruptive AI is for your business. And if that's something that can influence your competitive advantage, can it only impact your internal processes? And how big of a change you should basically expect from AI entering the market. It's no longer a question of if, it's actually already happening. So it's better to get ready and to have a strategy ready for whatever is going to happen to your company in the future.
Basia, you mentioned numerous concerns that customers may have when it comes to AI. So I wonder, what kind of arguments do you use to address these concerns?
Of course, then I think the best always argument is education and explanation how it works. Because if you explain that, for example, enterprise LLM so models for Gen.AI. Don't use your data if your infrastructure is for enterprise. Yeah, and this is official document on the website of the infrastructure provider. Then you can explain that, okay, this is some kind of protection from the vendor. Because it doesn't work in this way that every algorithm trains all day or always, etc. Always is some kind of mechanism, and only people could use this mechanism for training. So if you explain how it works, it's much easier. Then if you calculate, for example, when we talk about the costs, if we calculate the infrastructure, the data, the work, etc., then we can show them that, okay, it's cheaper than they think, or maybe more expensive. It depends on the case. But then we have a fact. Yeah, cost is some kind of amount of money, and we can agree for this money or we disagree on this money. But this is a fact. Yeah, this is not only feeling. I think that I spent many times, many hours on education and explanation how it works, and I think this is the best argument, because people very often hear some kind of myth about AI, how it works, and they don't understand this, and it's okay totally, because they are not, AI experts. For them, they have me. And then when you explain how it works, they can, they don't have so much concerns about AI.
Except for what Basia already mentioned, what we often face are integration challenges. So basically answering the question of how to integrate AI into our already existing systems and processes. And at Stakes Next, we are huge fans of POC and pilot projects. So that's something that we always recommend to our clients, which means start small, see how big of a value this is, and only then implement the whole solution, because it basically allows you to limit the cost of the solution that will be implemented.
Anna, Shen.AI is offering quite an innovative product, and I wonder if people are generally open about it, or do they tend to distrust it a little bit and not realize the full AI's potential?
So I would say that, we are in a healthcare industry, and this is a very specific area where we're dealing with very sensitive data. So maybe just to give a bit of a context, what Shen.AI does, it's more of a deep tech AI-based product where you can scan your face for 60 seconds, and we are able to give you around 27 health markers just using your laptop camera or cell phone camera. And these are the things that you would traditionally have to do at the doctor's office, or you would have to use a special medical equipment. And now you can do it just, anytime, anywhere. And that really brings a lot of skepticism, in people, because they don't trust it. No, there's this layer of, okay, what is this? This is a toy. We actually also see, which is quite interesting, different attitudes depending on the geography. So we have a lot of clients from the US market where they're very open to it and they kind of embraced it fully. Whereas there's some other regions where it's a little bit more skeptical. There's obviously a case of regulation as well, which maybe we don't have to get into, but it's quite important. So what we've found that's helpful, that's to Barbara's point, is to actually explain how the product works. So there's how the product is built, that this is not just a mysterious black box where something happens and you get the results, but actually there's, the scientific layer, medical layer, that's been kind of the base of that. There is some kind of technology we're using, which is RPPG, RBCG, without going into details. And then there is a model that we train on a very robust data set, etc. So when you kind of walk people through that, and you explain to them how all those puzzles fit together and are able to give you the results, there's a lot more optimism and a lot more trust into the product. So I feel that piece is very often missing, that education of the users about how this is not possible, not only what is possible, but also how is it possible. So I would say that's what we try to focus on, educate.
Thank you. And I feel like that could be a podcast episode on its own. I'm very curious about this product, and I want to sign up to try it one day.
Of course. No problem.
Good. I'll keep your word for it. Thank you. So I'm going to flip the question a little bit now and ask you, what are some of the main reasons you see companies want to implement AI?
So the first thing that comes to my mind is task automation. So all of the repetitive daily tasks that we all do, it's something that Anna mentioned at the beginning. So if you list all of the tasks that you do on a daily basis, I'm sure that 90% of it can be automized, or at least 80%. And then you gain some additional time to actually focus on things that are strategically more important. And I would say that the second thing, or the second gain, is any kind of predictive analytics. Is AI always great? Are models always right when it comes to forecasting? No. But are they still the best tool we have to predict whatever will happen in the future? Yes. So those two, I think, are the most beneficial for any kind of company, or any kind of business, or any kind of individual, to be frank.
And where do you personally see AI really shining? So what are some of the projects and tasks where everyone should think about implementing AI?
So maybe I can just speak to that from like go-to-market perspective, because this is what I focus on in my daily work. So just covering marketing, sales, and customer support, we had a look at our company where we can actually leverage AI, and there's so many examples I can give you. So obviously nowadays everybody's recording the sales calls or customer calls. So we have that. Then we, based on that, created a knowledge base. So that's, to Marta's point, like an internal knowledge base for objection handling, for kind of the interest that the customers have, what makes the customers tick. So then based on that, you can actually create a perfect pitch, so to speak. We also have an AI analyzing sales calls and giving feedback to each salesperson. Okay, you did well here, you didn't do well here. Maybe you should look into that. We also have a summary of product requests from the clients that goes straight to our product team, and they get feedback after each call. We also created a bot for customer support. So every time they need to reply to the customer based on all the knowledge base we have built, we already have drafted emails in our inbox, so it's very easy to reply. Right now I'm playing with like an agent that sends me preparation before each meeting. So there's a lot of things you can do just to make your daily work much easier. But it takes a lot of kind of effort initially to actually build the proper data set that you can train those models on, because otherwise they hallucinate, they give you really bad information. Actually, you have to fix them, and it takes more time than writing an actual email. But if you put that effort at the very beginning, I think your daily work can be much better, efficient, and just you don't need to hire that many people anymore, because what used to take 5 people's workload, now it can be done by 2 or 3.
And vice versa, are there any areas where implementing AI doesn't really make sense, but maybe people want to do it anyway?
Well, probably in more cases than we think. And I don't think I should be as transparent, but that's actually true. There was definitely a hype for implementing generative AI. I think the reason was trying to, boost the revenue growth for the company, or those companies from the marketing perspective were more attractive, and from the investment perspective, that was a huge hope that's gonna attract a lot of investors. But at least until now, there is little or even no proof that implementation of generative AI really boosts your revenue. It's still pretty costly in terms of the maintenance perspective. So I think that's the main reason. So I would say be careful, or pick wisely. If you really want to implement those type of solutions, just try to find the right one, because if you're going to start with something that's really not going to make a huge difference within the company perspective, a lot of people may either regret it or not to invest more money just to implement the right one.
Okay, So let's look at a scenario. We have decided, okay, we want to implement AI. What are some of the different ways that we can fail in that endeavor?
Okay, so about failing the AI projects, we can talk 1 hour, because the reasons is so much and so different. Okay, one is because many times people who build AI system, doesn't matter Gen AI or let's say old-fashioned AI system, don't understand really business needs and business requirements, environment, etc. And then, okay, they build a great model, but only from the mathematical perspective. Yeah, but it doesn't get the answer for the business question. The second problem is with too high expectations. Yeah, okay, this technology is great, but still it doesn't perfect, and we don't have 100% of precision, accuracy, etc. Still, we have some kind of problems with different kind of AI systems. Also, of course, compliance, now very important because of AI Act and the law in Europe. And also, of course, costs. Yeah, sometimes people don't calculate revenue from the project, and of course, okay, project was great, and maybe the solution is great, but our revenue is not so high. So in the end, it's not a very good solution from the business perspective, of course. And in the end, I could say that this kind of thinking that, okay, it's just model, it's just AI. So put the data and AI will do everything. And then it's not so easy to explain that it doesn't work in this way.
I wanted to add on top of the data part, actually, from our perspective, obviously we are in healthcare, but you know the quality of the data and the diversification of the data that you train the model on is very important. So our solution would not work if we just trained it on maybe Europeans in the in the age of 40 to 60. Actually, what we had to do is gather data from around the world, from many different ethnicities, ages, skin tones, etc., in order for that product to be able to give you accurate results. No, so it's very often like the quality of the data is the make it or break it for those kind of models. And then also I would ask, also again from the healthcare perspective, the security, and the privacy issues. So very often this is overlooked. As an example, we process everything on the edge, so we don't send anything to the cloud for computing. In some parts of the world, like for example the Middle East, without this, we would not be able to enter the market, because they're so concerned about the data privacy and kind of the leakage of data, that this is also some like part of the bigger story around AI that companies have to pay attention to. So just wanted to add those two topics.
On top of that, I would say that change management is also where we often see companies failing. So actually not looking into the human factor, not onboarding people properly, not educating, as Anna and Barbara mentioned previously. And no matter how good the technology is and how well the tools are integrated, if your employees or your colleagues don't want to use the tool and the AI implementation in the end, it's still a failure.
Okay, so lots and lots of ways to fail when implementing AI, but I'm sure that's not the end of the story. And there are actually some ways to avoid these pitfalls. So what are they? How do we avoid failing from day one where we decide we want to do AI to a successful implementation?
Okay, so we can do a lot, and we have different kind of steps. One, prepare a very good business discovery. Yeah, for what we want to use AI. Yeah, for what kind of needs. Then, when we build the AI system, doesn't matter what kind of, build with the incremental development. Yeah, not everything in once, but build and make better and better our AI system. Sometimes, as Anna said, we can work with data and then we spend a lot of time working on better data. Sometimes we need time for working with algorithms. Then, of course, before the project, we can calculate our revenue and costs of the system, of the implementation. And of course, I think that some kind of, I call it this spread awareness about the AI, on the project or in the company, and really, we don't have use very hard words about AI, algorithms, statistics, etc. We can talk about AI with simple words, and we can explain almost every concept about AI with simple words. And then people will, I think, better understand what we can do and where we have limits in our work with AI.
Okay, so summing the whole conversation up, if there was one thing you wish everyone, so customers, users, everyone knew about AI, what would it be?
I'm not sure. I guess I would say it's not a magic bullet, no? Like you still have to have a human in the loop very often, and there's still a lot of work to be done around it. So just having the appropriate expectations and also KPIs around it to actually decide that this is the right course of action would be probably what I would like everyone to know.
I think that maybe summarizing a bit what we all said. So I think it's important to start with something smaller still. So don't go too big at the beginning. Start with like proof of concept, what Basia mentioned, the discovery part, very important. You can do it by planning a proper strategy for your organization, building the whole roadmap of AI projects for your company. And to be able to do it, if you don't have the skills within your organization, just use the companies that already delivered so many of those projects. I'm from the sales team. Definitely, I'm going to point out to the company I'm representing, right? But definitely, you can find a lot of those companies that already tested so many solutions. They saw the things that work, but also what didn't work, and with a pretty small amount of money, or even sometimes totally for free, you can just have discussion. You can just listen about some case studies that was very successful. You can ask about numbers. So how much that really changed the way the company worked after that. So I think that would be something I would really, really advise. So start with something smaller before you're going to really spend a lot of money on actual development part.
Okay, so I wish everyone and every organization to skip this part of hype of AI to the moment when AI will be quite natural for us, like, I don't know, PowerPoint, internet, Outlook, email, etc., and use the whole potential of AI in normal work, and everybody will use like any other tool.
Exactly. So just hop on the train, because AI is just another tool to enhance human capabilities.
Perfect, thank you. And I always like to wrap up with a little peek into a crystal ball. And don't worry, I know it's impossible to predict what will happen in the next year, even at the pace of the technology development at this moment. But let's just guess. What trends do you see in AI for the next couple of years, perhaps?
Okay, from my perspective, I see in my crystal ball that we will have on the market many different tools with AI inside, and it will be for us quite natural to use it. to summary some kind of recordings, some kind of notes, to prepare some kind of notes, from some reports, for example, or building knowledge base, like we build now applications for something. Yeah, so it will be quite natural and quite normal that we use this kind of technology for something.
I think what we're going to see is a little bit more, let's say, AI-based products that are more vertical, so not kind of one size fits all, but that they actually going to be for particular domains. As an example from healthcare, yet again, we have those tools that listen to our conversations and they make the transcription of the entire call or meeting. You can see it right now in the doctor's offices as well. No, they coming up and they actually have to be specialized in listening to the medical conversations. So they, can be in the ambient, listen to the entire consultation and then spit out actual, recommendations, and summary of the visit. But those kind of tools are more vertical and they actually have to be trained in a particular domain. No, so I think this is where we're going to see a lot happening in the upcoming years.
I think that I'm observing different things right now. Where our focus stands is actually we are trying to prove that AI tools will definitely make a huge difference for development parts. So for delivering a different type of software projects. So we tend to have those hypotheses that even you can cut the cost by 40% or the time or the quality will be much bigger, right? So this is where we are trying to go and what we are trying to test for the next couple of months because this is how fast AI is actually growing. We don't consider any more years, I think, which is, take into account a couple of next months. So I think that would be the biggest focus from our perspective.
And I have a personal preference, so I guess my crystal balls is influenced by that. And I read that Harvard Business Review predicts that by 2030, AI's power demand will increase by 160%. And even though companies like Microsoft or Google already commit to powering their data centers by 100% renewable energy, I guess that there is still a lot to be done when it comes to making AI a bit more sustainable because it is very power consuming to use it. And I hope that everybody just gets on board with that and we use our brains to figure out how to make it a bit more eco-friendly.
And I feel like these two last questions were a perfect summary and everything I would love to say in the wrap up anyway. So I'm just going to leave it at that. And thank you so much, Anna, Barbara, Karina, and Marta. And to everyone listening, as always, thank you for joining us. And I hope to see you again for the future episodes of BrAInstorm powered by STX Next. See ya.